I want to teach again from the subject, fear the good kind. Somebody say the good kind. Today I want to teach you one of the most pivotal principles in the Bible that you never knew was so important. It's the fear of God. The traditional path we are trained in the kingdom is to receive salvation by belief in Jesus, to be baptized and signify you've become one with his death, burial, and resurrection, and to be filled with his Spirit. That's the normal path and progression that we take. But in reality, you don't really know if you believe in God if you don't know if you fear him. The fear of God begins a lifelong journey discovering the depths and mysteries of God because you are willing to be a student of him. Say student. Anything that you truly fear, you will study. When's the last time you heard a lesson on the fear of God? The fear of God is mentioned over 100 times in our Bible. I don't know of any other theme of Scripture that has a more clear benefit package. It precedes just about every Scripture that you hold dear. For example, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Well, you can't wait on him if you don't fear him. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy mind, and all thy soul. You can't love God that deeply if you don't fear him. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not into thy own understanding. Well, guess what? If you don't fear God, you will constantly stay in your own understanding. Ask your neighbor, do you fear God? You cannot begin your journey in God's kingdom or search his mysteries by ways of miracles, signs, and wonders until you establish the foundation of holy fear in God. I'll prove it to you. Proverbs 1 and 7. Go there with me real quick. Proverbs 1 and 7. You got it? If you don't have it yet, look to our screen. Here's what it says. It says, the fear of the Lord is the what? Beginning of knowledge. It is at the beginning of knowledge. Are y'all hearing this today? Before you can go down the journey of loving God, trusting God, understanding God, you have to start with the fear of God, the reverence of God. I'm in awe of him. I respect him. Are y'all hearing this? I am willing to be a student of him because of the level of respect I have for him. Is this making sense? The fear of God is essential. Say essential. Anything that you are about to embark upon, there's some things you may need. Our son Wellington was about to start playing soccer. And his coach told us, before you can bring him to practice, make sure you get him some soccer cleats, right? If you want to be a chef, you need a stove. If you want to be a banker, you need a calculator, right? If you're a contractor, you need a hammer. If you're a woman, you need shoes, right? But if you're pursuing the fullness of the kingdom of God and all it has to offer, you need the holy fear of God. Tell somebody it's essential. You can't or you shouldn't argue or debate with anyone that doesn't fear God. You cannot reason with anyone that doesn't fear God because we're not playing by the same rules. We don't have the same playbook. So what sense would it make for you to try to engage someone in a debate or a discussion that doesn't fear God? We cannot even get on the same page until we both fear him. Because if we don't both fear him, we'll never see eye to eye. So, before we dive into miracles and signs and wonders, before we get into all the blessings and all the things that God can do, then we have to first establish the character we need to possess, to position ourselves properly. Because like I said before, they that wait on the Lord, well, guess what? For me to have the discipline to wait, I have to fear him first. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart. Before I can trust him that deeply, I have to fear him first. And so if we just try to go after the thing without establishing the character, you'll always come up short or it will be unsustainable. Is this making sense so far? And so how do we develop that fear if we don't possess it already? Fear, reverence, respect, awe. All these are characteristics of fearing God. Reverence, respect, awe. So we want to possess those things. Last week, give me my slide, positioned for the supernatural. We talked last week about being positioned for the supernatural. These are elements of good fear. When you are in awe of something, when you respect something, you'll put structure around it. When you honor something, you'll put structure around it. When you respect something, you'll put structure around it. And we talked about that on last week. And also we began talking about stewardship. Say stewardship. Anything that you don't fear, don't respect, don't reverence, you won't steward well. You will squander, you will waste anything you don't reverence. Are y'all with me? The opposite is true. Anything that you reverence or you respect, you will steward well. You will be a good steward. You will respect it. Somebody say respect it. And so today we want to talk about stewardship. We want to finish our conversation about stewardship. Let's go to Matthew chapter 25, verse 23. Matthew 25, verse 23. Say amen when you get there. For the sake of time, for those who are still turning, go ahead and look to our screens. His Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. In other words, you have been a good steward. You have stewarded what I've given you well. And because you have been a good steward, it says, I will make you a ruler. In other words, I will intervene. In other words, I will put my super with your natural. In other words, you do what you can do and I'll do what you can't. You do your part and I will step in. Is this making sense so far? And he says, I'll make you the ruler over many things means expansion, growth. You had a few, now you got the whole lot. Okay? Then it says, enter into the joy of the Lord, which means I'm not just going to give you a whole bunch of stuff and you stressed out about it. I'm not just going to increase you and you having trouble sleeping at night figuring out how you're going to pay the bills. I'm not going to just give you more and give you more struggle along with it. He says, I'm going to give you more, but then I want you to enter into the joy of the Lord. Tell somebody, I'm going to enjoy my increase. I'm going to enjoy my growth. I'm going to enjoy my expansion. When God take me to the next level, hit me. Ain't going to be no stress. I'm not going to be staying up all night. I'm not going to be pacing the floor in the middle of the night. When God bless me with my increase, I'm going to walk in it like I belong there, like I should have been there all along. I'm going to live in the joy. Enter into the joy of the Lord. Yeah. You've been faithful over a few. Now I'm going to make you rule over many. And then you're going to enter into my joy. Let's take a look at this a little closer. Says, you've been a faithful servant, which means you've been a good steward. Now, let's take this a little bit deeper. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 9. Chapter 9, 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse number 10. All right, now watch this. This is important. This is important. Watch this. It says, now he that ministereth, in other words, he that giveth seed to the sower. In other words, God says, the sower, I'll always ensure they have seed. It says, both minister bread for your food and multiply your seed sown, and increase the fruits of your righteousness, being enriched in everything to all bountifulness. Somebody say increase. Which causes through us thanksgiving to God. Now, hear this. It says in Matthew, I've been faithful over a few things. Tell somebody I'm a good steward. Means I've been faithful over a few things. And here in 2 Corinthians, it's teaching us that if I can be faithful over a few things, that God will always ensure that I have seed. Because guess what? All a sower is a steward. Listen, the Bible could very easily call this individual a farmer, because a farmer is essentially the occupation. But a sower takes it a step further, because that is the function that the farmer operates in. Okay? And so, in other words, if I'm a sower, if that's who I am, then God says, I will always put seed in your hand. The problem tends to lie when you have individuals who are looking to be farmers, but they haven't become sowers. The problem we tend to have is we want to be farmers, but have not learned to become sowers. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm not just talking about tithes and offerings. I'm talking about being a sower. Is this making sense to anybody? Living in fear, living in the fear of God will make you a good steward. But being a good steward will make you a good sower. And when you're a good sower, God will always make sure you have seed. And when you always have seed, you'll always be multiplying. Okay? Let's go to, let's go back to our feature text, Psalm 34 and 11. Let's go back there. It says, "Come, ye children, hearken unto me. I'm going to teach you the fear of the Lord." It says, "What man is he that desireth life and loveth many days, that he may see good?" Living in the fear of God will make you a good steward, because you will respect the God that you serve and everything that he has bestowed upon you. You will respect it. You will be a good steward. The epitome or the apex of being a good steward is that you become a good sower. Because I fear God, I want God to get a return on his seed sown into me. So when God gives me a blessing, because I fear him, I want to offer him something back. That's essentially the principle, is that everything that we have is borrowed from God. And when you truly fear him, you'll always want to lift up an offering of what he gave you. That is the posture of a sower. That's the posture of a steward. That's the posture of someone who fears him. I always want to make sure if God gives me a day, I want to give him a blessing. If God gives me $1, I want to give him a dime. Y'all ain't getting this. Y'all ain't getting it. If God bestows upon me a new job, I want to make sure that I honor him in everything. I'm trying to figure out a way to give God something back. And the principle suggests that if you can take on that identity, God will always make sure you have. And that's how the flow keeps going. And that's how you keep increasing. And that's how you become a good steward. And that's how you become faithful over a few things. And that's how God will make you ruler. Are y'all getting this? And so it's the top of the year. So I want to start in very practical terms. I want to help you have some very practical things to think about as to how you can shift your mind into being in the fear of the Lord and being a good steward and being a sower. The first thing that you got to realize is that you have to steward your day. Say that with me, steward your day. Every day that God gives you is a seed. There's something in it for you. Your eyes woke up, your heart's beating, there's breath in your lungs. There's something within this day that I want to master and give back to God. That I want to lift up an offering from this day. Are y'all hearing this? How do you start your day in the mind of a good steward? I told you last week I want to take you from a clean slate to a great start. Give me that slide. A clean slate to a great start. I wanted to give you this acronym, very simple, but it's a model you can use to sow into your day. When you wake up in the morning, I want you to be thinking about, how can I be a good steward of this day? The first thing you should want and be believing God for in terms of the supernatural is not necessarily, again, money, houses, and cars. The primary thing you really want is long life. Am I boring y'all today? The first thing you want is the first supernatural. If I could ask God for any type of supernatural blessing, would be to live long. Why do you say that, Pastor Jay? Why do you say that? Because you take any millionaire, multimillionaire, billionaire, and give them a life expectancy and ask them how much of their wealth would they give away to live longer. The number one thing you should be seeking, I'm about to teach this real good. I can feel it in my spirit. The number one thing you want to believe God in the supernatural for is long life. And how do you ensure you have long life is you steward your days. You sow into your days, so your days will be multiplied. Man, oh man. I want to multiply my days, so I sow into my day. My day is a seed. And how do you honor, fear, reverence God? You reverence him, you honor him by realizing that he gave me a day I've never seen before, and I respect and honor that day. And if you begin to honor and respect your days, then guess what? You'll begin to pay attention to everything you put in it and everything you allow in it. If you begin to respect your body, you'll begin to pay attention to everything you put in it. When you begin to fear your health, you'll begin to respect everything you put in it. Watch this. Whatever you fear is your God. Because you reverence and respect it. And that doesn't have to be the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, and the God of Abraham. That can be an idol God. That's why he is a jealous God, because he notices you fearing something more than him. And when you fear something more than him, it becomes your God. Because anything you fear, you will study. And anything you study, you will respect. And anything that, and anything that you respect, you will reverence. And anything, are y'all hearing this? And anything that you reverence, it will yield its fruit to you. So if you fear disease, and it's constantly on your mind, and you're constantly giving it attention, then fear is becoming your God. If you're in a relationship right now, and you fear being hurt, or you fear being betrayed, or you fear being cheated on, and that's what consumes your mind, and that's what you study, that's why you snoop through things, and you're looking at things, you're trying to figure out what's going on, you're going through the phone, you're doing all these things, because you're trying to study what you fear. You're trying to study what you fear, and whatever you fear is your God, and it will manifest. That's why they're saying if you go looking for it, you'll find it. Whatever you fear, it becomes your God. Y'all getting this? So the first supernatural miracle that I want all of us to believe God for is long life. Live longer than expected. Your parents may have died prematurely. I want you to begin believing God for long life. You may have some chronic health conditions. I want you to start believing God for long life. And the way that you honor God and you fear God and you show him that you respect long life is that you sow into every single day. Are y'all getting this? So how do we do that? We want to go from a clean slate to a great start. Acronym, START. S is for stillness and seeking. T is for thankfulness. A is for affirmation. R is to read your word. T is to target your day. Now let's say it together. S is for stillness and seeking. T is for thankfulness. A is for affirmation. R is for read your word. T is to target your day. Now, every single day, you want to have a great start. A great start. Because what? I honor this day. I reverence this day. Why do I reverence this day? Because I fear God. And I fear God, and I thank God that he gave me this day. So now I'm going to respect this day, again, by stewarding it well. And the first thing that I want to do to steward my day well is to get a good start. And to get a good start, I need to, first thing, be still. When you wake up in the morning, you have to center yourself. You can't just get up in the morning and just run it all over the place. Plan some time to be still. Center yourself. Get quiet. Let the Lord talk to you about the day ahead. Get quiet. Most of us, if you wake up early, if you're an early riser, you're still in the fourth prayer watch. Prayers and watches in the biblical terms. And there's basically 4 times a day that you pray. Most would suggest that the highest spiritual activity is between the 3rd and 4th watch. That's the hours between roughly 3 a.m. and 6, 7 a.m. A lot of spiritual activity happening at that time. That's when dreams and everything are happening. That's when a lot of spiritual activity is going on around that time. If you're a dreamer, you know this to be true. Some of you can't even sleep well during that time. You're trying to sleep, but your spirit is uneasy. Toss, turn. It's because there's a lot of spiritual activity happening during those hours. I would challenge you that if you are up or you can't seem to rest well, to find some time to be still and seek the Lord. You don't need a whole lot to do this. All you need is time and to just set aside some quiet, still moments. So you wake up, you say, Lord, I seek you. Lord, I honor you. Lord, speak to me concerning this day. Just be still and seek him. Does that make sense? The next thing you want to do is you want to exhibit gratitude, thankfulness. God, I thank you for this day. God, I honor this day. I'm appreciative of this day. Y'all hearing this? Stillness, seeking, thankfulness, and then affirmation. You have to begin to affirm yourself and affirm where you are in God. I am a royal priesthood. I am the head and not the tail. I am victorious in Jesus Christ. You hear me? Thou have not given me the spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. Are y'all hearing this? Whatever you're going through, begin to speak and affirm what you believe God to do by faith. Maybe it hasn't happened yet, but you need to begin speaking it. If you cannot visualize it and you cannot speak it, then you cannot have it. So you might be saying right now, well, Pastor Jay, I don't have enough to make ends meet. I'm just struggling. I'm struggling financially. Things are not coming together. I just don't know what to do. You need to start affirming yourself to say, the Lord of the harvest always gives seed to the sower. You need to start affirming yourself to say, I have been young and I have been old, but I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging for bread. You need to start affirming yourself, because if you can't visualize it and you can't say it, you can't have it. But you need to get a picture in your spirit, and your faith needs to come in alignment with it, and then every morning you steward your day by confessing it, declaring it, speaking it in faith. Affirmation, affirm. Are y'all getting this? We also could add to affirmation, or we could also add appreciation. All right? Read your word. And this is not an activity of quantity. It is about quality. It's better to read one chapter a day than to say tomorrow I'm going to read all of the Old Testament and then you never read the Bible again this year. Tell somebody consistency. I told you all last week, the best way to become consistent is to tuck a routine into something you do every day. And so it should become a routine that every day you read your word. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it just needs to be a rhythm, a routine. It's an indication to God that this matters to me. Y'all got it? And then T, I'm wrapping up here. I need you to target your day. You need a target. Every day you need a target. What are my goals for today? What do I want to get accomplished? How do I know that today was successful? How do I know that I honored God with this day? What are some of the things that I did? What are some of the things I wanted to get done? And I'm not just talking about your to-do list for, well, I needed to take out the trash, and I needed to do my laundry, and I needed to pack my, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what are some things that you want to do for God on this day. Y'all must be really getting this, or either I'm doing a terrible job. What do I want to do for God today? When was the last time you set a goal to say, today I'm going to share the gospel with somebody? And that was a goal for the day. If we're honest, it would probably be less than 10% of the people in this room. If we're honest. When's the last time you said, today I want to do a random act of kindness for a complete stranger? That's my goal for the day. Before I lay down to go to sleep, I want to find an opportunity to be kind. I want to find an opportunity to show someone the love of Christ. When is the last time you set the goal to say, today, I want to be a sower. So I'm going to find an opportunity to sow, financially even. And you set that goal for the day. Is this making sense to anybody? And I believe, if you begin targeting your day, if you begin affirming yourself, if you begin reading your word, if you are thankful, if you're still and seeking God every morning, and you're fearing God, and you're allowing God to help you steward your days, and you show him reverence in each and every day, I believe that the one thing that God is going to grant you with is long life. Now, we'll get to the other stuff, but let's start there. Are y'all getting me? And our feature text said, "Come, ye children, hearken unto me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord. What man is he that desireth life?" Somebody say life. "And loveth many days." Somebody say long life. "That he may see good." Stand on your feet. We're getting ready to go home. Our ministers are coming up. Our ministers are coming to pray with you. And it's my belief and my prayer that we can come in agreement with you on this afternoon. The altar is now open.
During this week. Please remember, if you are a first-time guest, to fill out a digital connect card. If you are in need of prayer, please text prayer to the number on the screen. Also, remember, if you are a first-time guest, don't forget to text connect to the number on the screen as well. We pray that you have a wonderful week, and thank you for joining us.